Hi, I'm Heidi. I'm an alcoholic, and as an alcoholic, I was suffering from a spiritual malady. I only know that from working the 12 steps. Previously to finding AA, which by the way I knew nothing about, I didn't even know what the acronym stood for. Previous to that, I considered myself to be a firm believer in God, and from my earliest remembrances as a child, I loved God. I studied about him. I had a daily quiet time, even up to the point where I tried to commit suicide in a blackout. So clearly something wasn't working. You might ask how somebody who could think that they're fine, that's how I answered the question, hi, how are you doing? I'm fine. Uh, why do they do the 12 steps? That's a really, really good question. And the answer really comes in step one. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. And I'd like to expand that a little bit for everybody, because I don't think alcohol is the only thing that takes our lives down the tubes. So let's look at step one and take the wording. We admitted we were powerless over ourselves, that our lives had become unmanageable. And I think that's really key to finding a way to apply the 12 steps no matter what the obsession or compulsion is. Um, I don't believe I'm powerful enough to push God away, so I don't believe that I shut him out or turned my back or whatever. I really think what happened was I had a misunderstanding of what it means to relate to God. From my earliest memories, I played house with God. There was this speckled rock in Ely, Minnesota when we went camping, and I was in lower elementary grades, and my favorite thing to do was, when everybody else went down for a nap, go out and play on my speckled rock and play house with God. You know, I had leaves for dishes and pine cones for food and pine needles for other, I don't know what, I can't remember, but I loved God. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that I was paying attention to my own will. I was raised by the philosophy that you should pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, and I think a lot of us were in my generation. But no matter what generation you come from, the will is going to be the issue, because we just naturally tend to want to do whatever our own will is. And as life progressed, I started to experience depression, anxiety, and a sense of restlessness. And I turned to alcohol for a sense of peace, you know, a bottle of freedom, whatever. And for me, for a while, that seemed to work. Of course, all it was doing was enabling me to escape and numb. And so no matter what the compulsive behavior is that you're feeling like you want to eradicate from your life and you can't do it on your own, AA has the program of 12 steps, which is the recovery program of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it does work. And it works because it gives us a spiritual solution to our problems. So on the one hand, I knew God from forever, and on the other hand, my life was out of control. So how does that happen exactly? And the 12 steps have helped me reach some conclusions and have given me truly the sense of peace and freedom, serenity, which I didn't even have a definition for, I have found as a result of the 12 steps. So in step one, I would like to assign, if I can be so assuming, I'm a fellow student and I'm still learning. But step one, the important aspect of that is that we isolate what has happened to us as a result of following our own will. And in the program of AA, I've learned how to experience God's power and how to set my will aside. And I'm choosing His will for a change, which, you know, I really didn't even know I was I was not choosing his will. And that's the value of going through the 12 steps, is actually examining what our choices are and the end result of living by our own willpower. So this, think about a couple of questions here. How are you doing? How would you answer that? Do you believe that people can feel like they're fine and then want to self-destruct at the same time? And at the end of my post, I'm doing fine. If I'm doing fine, why do the 12 steps? There are some questions. I'd like you to look at those questions, if I can be so presumptuous, and have you just jot down in a journal what your reaction is to these. And don't be surprised if it's really emotional. This does bring up a lot of pretty powerful stuff as we go through the 12 steps. But step 1's the problem, step 2's the solution, and we'll get there. So good luck with that. And go to my website. I'll have that come up on the last part of the screen. It's Good Life No Alcohol.wordpress.com, and read the post if you would. If you're doing fine, why try the 12 steps anyway? So that's it. Thank you.